everybody, Jesus loves you. My name's Cody. You're watching the Friday episode of Christian News. And it's kind of the Christian News Show thing. It's kind of an day again. So, should I do the intro? I should do the intro. Intro. So first things are, there was no Wednesday episode. If you don't know, it's supposed to be a Monday, Wednesday, Friday show. But on Wednesday, it was really blurry, and I'm guessing that it was because of low light. So bad news is no Wednesday show. Good news is I went out and I'm gonna get a new camera. I didn't go out. I went on Amazon stores. What are those? So bad news is no Wednesday show because it was all blurry. Good news is I got a camera in the mail that might be able to fix that for graduation from my lovely girlfriend Tia. So that'll be cool. And then today I looked up news stories and I was like, this is fun. And then after a while I was like, I don't want to talk about news today. And it wasn't so much that there was no news to talk about, it was just nothing that I found interesting, and I think that's just kind of the mood I was in. I was just like, don't want to talk about any of this. I do want to bring up Syria, because I'm not going to be talking about Syria, because I don't know what's going on. I'm getting a lot of different news stories, and they're kind of contradicting in some ways, and I was just like, I'm going to leave that alone. People can watch CNN. So, I'm not going to talk about Syria. If you guys don't know, there is a war going on in Syria right now, and a lot of people dying. Prayers out to them. But as far as the news coverage, I'm not gonna mess with it just because I don't want to give you guys the wrong information, and I just don't know enough about it, and I'm too late into the story because it's been going on for quite a while now to actually talk about it with you guys. So there's that. If you guys really want to know more, Google is a thing still, and always will be. So I do think that Friday is still going to be a Christian news thing, but it's also going to be whatever I find interesting on the internet. Also, I'll be doing questions. If anyone wants to ask questions, ask them in the comment section below. I'll answer them sooner or later. You guys can listen and be happy. Atheists, you should love that. You love trying to drill Christians and make them feel stupid. So yeah, I'll do the best I can. Personally, I would love if you guys ask me questions on like nerd stuff. How is it to be a Christian and a nerd? And how do you do that with gaming and stuff, which I talked about last Friday. I was like, I don't know if I should talk about games and Christianity because you have shootings, and I thought about it, and Christians paintball, and so I kind of look at the same thing. If they would have made a paintball game before they made all the other like war games, people would have been playing that paintball game, and that would have been no different than a Christian playing paintball. So I think it's the same thing with all these other video games. They are gorier, but it's all sport. It's not real. It's like a paintball game. You are killing somebody virtually, but in paintball, you are getting somebody kind of in the same way. So that's my take. Obviously, there's certain video games you still shouldn't be playing. The question I think is really, why do you find it entertaining? Do you think it's entertaining because you like shooting things, or do you think it's entertaining because you like fatalities? Which, again, I play Mortal Kombat, and I've got a problem with it now that I'm like starting to think about it a little more. But where else can you be Sub-Zero? So anyways, I got a couple of news stories for today and some other things I just found interesting, and I'm going to talk about them like Tim Tebow. Because Tim Tebow's in the news, and I always love talking about Tim Tebow. Views are not the only reason that I like talking about Tim Tebow, but views are definitely part of it. And the reason he's in the news today is because Teddy Bruschi was like, you talk way too much on the media. You need to shut up. You're a backup quarterback, and you steal everyone's limelight. And I get that. But Tim Tebow got up and he replied to that simply saying, I'm paid to do this. This is what like the coaches and the sponsors and everybody asked me to do, so I do it. It's not really my fault. And he says, Bruschi, you should know this. You played for the Patriots. You should kind of understand what's going on. And I completely agree. I think that Bruschi should know as a Patriot that like, if you're paid to say something, then you say it. It's not your fault. You're just doing what you're told because that's what pays you. If that's your job, you're just like, all right, sure. I can talk in front of people and talk about God as much as possible, which is great. So I will admit, Tebow's in the media a lot. And my next news story wasn't really a news story. It was me just getting bored and going on the internet and finding a conference. And it was called the Christian Gaming Developer Conference. And that might not mean anything to anybody, but for me, it just made me think, we have one of those? That's awesome! Now, if this could be an actual thing, and this could get really big, that would be really awesome for Christian games. Whenever I think of Christian gaming, I think of Noah 3D, which was literally the Doom video game, but instead of monsters, there were lambs. Instead of the main character, you had like a big fluffy Noah. Instead of some guy that looks like he's dying. And instead of shooting awesome guns, you had like nuts or something like that. I don't know, don't go play the game. It was literally, they took the Doom game and made everything a little different. It was weird. Or like Bible Adventures for Nintendo. Christian gaming is terrible. Let's be honest. My hope is that we can have some Christian games that are terrible that I can actually play and not be like, this is so lame. So I saw that on the internet and I was excited. These guys obviously need support in some kind of way. So hopefully we can find some support for them and we can get some Christian games out there. And then we won't have so many angry gamers. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but in the new Tomb Raider game, there's a scene where she almost gets raped and she murders somebody for the first time or something like that. Or I think it's more like it's the first time she's had to kill somebody, I don't know. Either way, there's a scene where it almost looks like she's raped. And the developer's like, no, you got this wrong. But teens and younger adults are angry at how lame it was that this scene was put in there. It was like, oh, this is the most sexist thing to put in a video game ever. The woman has to get raped. That's creative of you. And we had more Christian games. That wouldn't have to happen. And that goes to my last part of the day, which was a poll that these guys did. And they simply asked, do you feel doubt sometime in your faith? And that number is rising over the past few years. And people are scared. They're like, oh no, people are doubting Christianity. This is so terrible. And I'm like, why? Why is that a bad thing? I guess I just don't quite understand why people think that doubting sometime in your faith is a bad thing. And I kind of think that this is just the younger world being more honest with the polls, because for so many people in the past who have been like, no, we never doubted the Bible. It seems really unrealistic. People doubt. It's a thing that happens. Everybody doubts sooner or later at certain levels. And since 2007 to 2012, the number has dropped from 83% to 68%. It's a big drop, but it's like, you still have 63% of people saying, I've never doubted the Bible, ever. And with Google and the internet and watching YouTube, if you look up Christianity, you usually get atheist posts. It's obvious to see why there would be doubt in the world, at least to a certain point. But I think it's really terrible to tell people, no, it's taboo to doubt. You can't ever doubt ever in your life. Don't ever do that, because then people are going to hide that. And that's like against what Christianity is. Christianity is about repenting. And if you guys don't know, Christianese, repent just means that you confess that you do sin, realize that you're a sinful by nature, and you want to change that and do the best you can, and then you learn to despise sin, because it is just this like chaining, enslaving mechanism that really holds a person down. And you don't really know that until you become a Christian. Once you become a Christian, those chains are slowly broken and you kind of come out of it. It's a really good feeling. Atheists, you guys don't get that, I know. But once you become a Christian, it's pretty amazing. But back to my point, it's about confessing. And so to keep things like that hidden, locked away inside of you, it's a bad idea. And promoting that you do that is even worse idea, because then those type of things grow. It's not healthy, for sure, at all. And it can destroy one's faith completely to doubt and not seek wisdom and a renewal of your faith. So I just want to say to the people that do doubt, especially the ones that don't ever say anything, contact your pastor. Go up to your pastor after church and be like, hey, I have these doubts. Could you help me renew my faith? Do you have any resources? And if they say no, then tell them, could you please look for some resources? I'll come back to you in a couple weeks. Because they might not have those resources on hand, but a pastor has a lot of connections to a lot of other pastors and can get those resources for you. And there is a lot out there to renew your faith and to strengthen your faith. As much as atheists like to disagree, there's a lot of different points, and when you put them all together, it's kind of overwhelming just how real faith in Christianity, when you're certain. There's a lot of different points. And when you put them all together, it's kind of overwhelming just how real our God really is. So go check that out. And we're going to go to the question of the day, which isn't going to be a question because it's a Friday and I don't want to do anything. So ask me questions if you would like, and I will answer them. And for that, we go on to the verse of the day. And the verse of the day is Mark 9:24. And the boy's father exclaimed, I do believe. Please help me overcome my unbelief. Anyways, that's all that I found interesting in the internet today. So, in closing, haters keep hating, Christians keep praying. To everybody like to subscribe, I will see you later, and God bless.